Let us move along now. Some big news at the very end of Wednesday's program. They were wrapping up the Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. press conference in California. And then all of a sudden, there was the Boxing Hall of Famer, Holly Holm, showing up, a part of the announcement that she is going to be competing on the 28th of June in Anaheim, returning to the Sweet Science. Her last fight in the squared circle, not the cage or octagon, May 11th, 2013. So by the time this fight happens, it will have been over 12 years. Her debut, January of 2002. A future UFC Hall of Famer, obviously a boxing Hall of Famer. This is a huge addition to this growing women's stable that Most Valuable Promotions is putting together. So she'll be on that card on the 28th of June in Anaheim, and she is kind enough to join us to talk about it all. There she is. Hello, Holly. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Congratulations. I remember when, and we'll just get right into it, I remember when you came on the show post leaving the UFC. I kind of feel like I was sort of like trying to tell you, like, I feel like that this story needs to be completed in boxing. And I feel like you listened to me. So I'm going to take credit for this. Can I?
I mean, whatever you want to tell yourself.
Okay, no.
I will say this. I appreciate that you're with it.
I'm with it. I know what's up.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I'm excited. It's, when I first came to MMA, I was so excited about it that I didn't really miss boxing. But then over time, it started to kind of just, if I had teammates that might have, even if we were just sparring boxing in practice, because they might have, not that a lot of teammates are just strict boxers, but we've had a lot of teammates that are even doing bare knuckles. So I'm like, yeah, I'll box with you for a little bit. Or if somebody does have a boxing fight coming up, and when I do it, I'm like, man, I kind of miss it, So I'm excited to be able to get back in there and just get back to just dialing in on just the boxing. It's just get real detailed on it.
So I would be remiss if I don't mention, it seems like we took a bit of a detour here because you did initially sign up with GFL, right?
I did. And it's one of those things, I think a lot of people, I was hopeful, and I put my, my work in thinking, okay, we've got a fight coming up, but I also don't throw all my eggs in one basket. I wanted to make sure to always just be training and be ready. And one thing about training my whole life and just being dedicated is that I've been able to have options. So GFL, that whole fight got canceled and unknown of if it's even going to ever happen. So I'm thankful that I have the options to be able to go back and pursue boxing and be able to be on a big card out in California. I'm excited for it.
Was the goal always to do both, or once GFL kind of hit a snag, then you pivoted?
I wanted to do both, regardless. I did. I wanted to do both if I could. And so there was already some days I was just boxing anyway when it was kind of questionable, on the fence. And so I've actually just kind of been training boxing, focusing on boxing for, I guess, the last couple months, I guess. So it is something that I already wanted to do, is to come back and box at 135. I never got to fight at 135 before, over 10 years of boxing, and never fought at 35. But my majority of my MMA has been at 35. Mm-hmm. I never boxed at 35. So just feel like it's like unfinished business to come back.
So I know that co-founder of MVP, Nikisa Badarian, obviously used to work for the UFC, was CFO, speaks very highly of you, was part of the company when you fought Ronda during your rise, has done business with Lenny, your agent. And so I know this has been a big point of pride for him. Ultimately for you, and here's a a quote from Nikisa on signing you. I remember when Holly shocked the world by knocking out Ronda Rousey, and I have no doubt she has the ability to shock the world again in her quest to become a boxing world champion once more. Her accomplishments in both boxing and MMA are unmatched, and we're honored to welcome her to Most Valuable Promotions. Ultimately, for you, why did you could have boxed for any promotion, I would imagine, and other promoters have talked about you. Ultimately, why did you decide to sign with Nikisa and Jake?
I think that, I mean, you see a lot of what they've done for Serrano and Taylor and promoting fights like that. That's a huge thing. But not only that, I like to be somewhere where there's also an equal amount of excitement. And their excitement of wanting me to be with them, I just feel like it was just something that it just made sense. I don't know why. There was really no reason for me to go somewhere else. This just made sense. I'm excited to get back there, excited to put the fight on, and they've obviously done put their efforts to get females on these, on these cards and televised. And, when I was fighting before in boxing, I did fight on televised bouts a handful of times, but not all the time. So I'm thankful for the efforts that they have put forth for women's boxing.
Yeah, they've done a lot of big moves. They've got this big card coming up on July 11th on Netflix, the all women's card. For you, was this a one fight deal, or is there a plan for you to win a couple here and then fight some of those big names that they have on their roster?
I signed for more than one fight.
Okay.
So I'm just focusing on boxing right now.
Is there a roadmap for you? Like, is Amanda the big fight at the end? She's fighting at 140, but she's 126.
I'd love to be able to, I don't ever look past who I'm facing right now. And, she's undefeated. She doesn't have maybe quite the experience, but she's undefeated coming in. She's tough. I want to be able to fight and do well there. And that's as far as my real immediate goal is. But yeah, I would like to then fight for a title and then be able to fight, Serrano or Taylor after that.
That would be the dream. Is there a chance that you now, ride off into the sunset and just finish off boxing? Like, has the MMA door now closed as a result of the enthusiasm that you have about this deal?
No, I still love MMA as well. I don't know if I would love to fight again in MMA, but that's just, I like to let life kind of unfold. I have goals and things that I like and things I know I'm passionate about, but I also like to take a day at a time, a fight at a time, and just ride the wave.
Yes. Can you do both with this MVP deal? Like, could you do an MMA deal with someone else as well?
I think right now it's just boxing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but notice the face-off on Wednesday. Did you happen to notice how big her platform shoes were? I don't know if those are called heels, but they were gigantic. Do you think that was done on purpose?
Maybe. And also that was a day I forgot my heels. So I wore tennis
look at those things.
Outfit.
Those things were huge. I feel like she was trying to get some sort of mental advantage. Look at that. Look at that.
We had a face off earlier during a photo shoot where she was in her boxing shoes. So
did you notice at the moment in the moment, or were you like, wait a second, why is she so tall?
I saw him before. We were in the back. I saw her on the heels, and then I was just thinking she's not even that much taller even with those on.
Yeah, that is true.
So it doesn't bother.
She is undefeated, Yolanda Vega. Have you been able to look up any footage on her? If so, you mentioned she obviously doesn't have as much experience as you do. Based on what you've seen, heard of her, what's your assessment?
Yeah, we've watched a couple fights with her actually already. She's got some clean punches. She's tough. She's not, she's confident. I'm not putting anything past her, and I honestly think that this fight for her is her. She's going to be more prepared for this fight than she ever has been. And I expect to get the toughest version of her.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm training as if this is it. I'm training as if this is for a title, you know. I know she's going to be tough, but I've been having a lot of fun getting back to boxing. And I think I think my boxing this time around is going to be a little different than my boxing before. You know, I've had 10 years of fighting or more since my last boxing fight till now. And I feel like my style of boxing will be slightly different than when I just boxed before.
Ooh, that's an interesting tease there. So what do you think? Like, obviously the style is different. It's a completely different fighting style. Stances change and all that. Can you tell us a little bit more? What will have changed about you?
I just feel like there's other things I learned through MMA that when I come back to boxing, I find myself like not always doing the same thing that I used to do in boxing before. And there are things that I remember from boxing. I'm like, man, this worked all the time back then. I'm just going to keep doing this too. But I just feel like it's going to be like a mix because I have been fighting this whole time, even though I haven't boxed in years.
Right.
But I just feel like it's going to be like a little hybrid.
And this will be 10 2-minute rounds, right?
Yes.
MVP has really been trying to push 3-minute rounds for women. What's your stance on that? Do you prefer 2-minute for the women's fights, or do you want it to be equal to the men?
I'm fine either way. I think sometimes I really am. I'm fine either way. I know that a lot of girls are like, if we're going to get paid the same, we need to fight the same. And for me, I think the entertainment just needs to be the same. And as long as you have people tuning in, I mean, you look at like the first time that Katie Taylor and Serrano fought, you know, they sell out Madison Square Gardens and it's a huge fight and they did well. It was super entertaining. So they should get paid. I'm not really like, for me, it's like, if they have it sanctioned at 10-2s, great. If it's a fight at 10-3s, fine, or 12, whatever. I think sometimes fighters can pace themselves more if it's 3 minutes instead of 2 minutes. Sometimes they still go hard. I just think, for me, it's not one of those things that I like put this like stance in, like we need to, you know, do the 3 minutes. It's just whatever the fight is, I'm ready for it.
Your career is so unique and legendary in that we always talk about, hey, the MMA guys go to boxing and don't do well. The boxing people don't ever come to MMA. You're the one who did, and that gets overlooked because we think of the one-offs like James Toney. You had a Hall of Fame, like a legitimate Hall of Fame. You are in the Hall of Fame. 33-2-3 record. So if my math is correct, that's like 38 pro fights, not to mention all the amateur fights. And then you come have a legendary MMA career as well. Does it excite you? Does it make you laugh that there's probably a whole sector of fans who have no idea that you were once a boxer, who only know you as Holly Holm, the MMA fighter, and now you can kind of show them who you once were?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are intriguing about it. I think sometimes, well, two things. A lot of boxers don't come into the MMA world because that's a harder jump to make. It's harder to go boxing to MMA than it is MMA to boxing. Because MMA to boxing, you already have striking knowledge. You go boxing to MMA, you're like diving headfirst into a pool of water. That's just like, I don't know how to grapple. I don't know how to, you know nothing. So that is a harder transition to make, is going boxing to MMA. But you know, I've been able to still practice all these things during my MMA training. I'm still striking. So going back to boxing, and I want to go back not just to be, I mean, I've said this before. I'm not here for like participation, right? I want to go like make waves. I want to make an impact, and I want to do big things. So I want to come back into boxing after being gone a long time and be like, make a statement.
By the way, do you care about being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame so that you can say that you're in both? Does that matter to you?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, who's going to be able to do that?
No one.
I honestly don't see that really. Like, I don't even think there's anybody out there right now that's going to be able to do that. I really don't. And I love to accomplish something that's never been accomplished before. So yes, I would love to be in the UFC Hall of Fame, and I would take a lot of pride in that. Absolutely.
Do you think you get enough credit for what you did in boxing and then the success you had in MMA for being a two-sport athlete? I don't feel like you get enough credit. Do you think so?
I've always been one of those that works in silence. There's a lot of things sometimes I see and I'm like, I think things to myself, or I might say to my team, or it's just, if they talk about how quickly somebody like rose to fight for a title, or, a two-sport champion, or this or that, I'm like, well, I did that. Or it's like multiple division belts in boxing, I'm like, well, I did that. And then, even like when I first went to MMA, when I got in the UFC, it's like I had 3 fights within like 9 months, and that third fight was for the belt. It was one of the fastest progressions to the belts. And you hear like, oh, this many months since somebody's been, and it's like, I did that. I don't really have to say it though, because I know it in my heart. I know what I've done, and I kind of like it because it still makes me kind of hungry to always do something or prove something in a good way. I use it as like positive motivation. I think my true fans are the ones that actually are so prideful on it, and that's all I don't really care. Like a lot of, like, the credit doesn't need to be there in order for me to be motivated. Do you know what I mean? It's like, whether it's there or not, I still want to do what I want to do, and I want to make a statement on my own.
It is nice to get credit, though, recognition, right? I know you don't strive for it or seek it, but it is nice when it comes.
It is. And maybe when I'm completely done, I'll look back and be like, I did all these things. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
I get
see.
it. I get it. Could I ask, Kayla Harrison is fighting Juliana Pena for the belt. You're obviously, someone who knows them and has been in the weight class for so long. Who do you think wins that fight?
I think Kayla's very strong. Pena's a dog, and she'll always fight through whatever. I think it's going to come down to some of the scrambles, I think both. I mean, Pena might want to make it a little more of a dogfight on her feet. I'm not sure, but I feel like that fight might come down to scrambles. I think so. And I do think that Kayla's stronger. I think that Pena's also fairly crafty. So I don't know. I'm excited to watch it, but I think, I don't know. I'm definitely excited to watch it.
And if I could maybe put you on the spot, we've been talking about for weeks, just before you came on, is Jon going to fight again? Can you break some news for us? Can you let us know? Can you tell us if he's going to fight? Do you have any intel?
I don't know. I think that's going to be all him. I think he's going to do it if he wants and not if he doesn't. And one of the things too, I think that a lot of Jon's never, his whole career, he's fought the top.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody can really be like, oh, you're running, you're dodging. I think he's in a spot where it's like, if he feels like it, he'll do it. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. I mean, that's going to be, it's not like he's ever dodged. I think that his left.
Oh. She's coming back. Working on it. I think she was going to say that his legacy is intact, which I 100% agree with. The big question is just if he's going to fight him or not. He has long been a staple of the New Mexico Albuquerque fight scene. We'll finish that. Why does this keep happening right at the end? This keeps happening. It's happened like 3 times in the last 2 or so weeks. But what a career, what a record. Former UFC bantamweight champion. She won that belt back at UFC 193, November of 2015. Fought for the featherweight title. 8-time UFC headliner. Like I said, 33-2-3 boxing record. 2022 International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee. Has won the IBF and WBF titles, Ring Magazine Female Fighter of the Year in 2005 and 2006. Made her debut in January of 2002. Her last fight, May 11, 2013, a unanimous decision win over Mary McGee to retain her IBF and WBF female welterweight titles. So she was winning when she decided to make the switch. Obviously, the money involved in women's boxing back in 2013, nowhere near what it is today. Thanks in large part to the Amanda Serranos and Katie Taylors of the world, the Clarissa Shields of the world, the Savannah Marshalls of the world. So the scene has changed dramatically, and she is coming back on June 28th in Anaheim. Yes, if that date sounds familiar, it is in fact the same day as UFC 317. I don't really think those two cards will be competing against each other in terms of eyeballs. Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., very much a boxing fight. Zurdo Ramirez on that card as well. We do have her back. Holly, are you there? Oh, yes.
Yeah, sorry, my phone got hot.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, I will let you go in a moment, but I just wanted you to finish your thought there. I think you were saying his legacy is intact regardless of what he decides, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jon's one of those that gets in there and he knows how to win. And I don't think it's not one of those that I think he's just going to do it if he feels like it.
If you were him, what would you choose? Like you can retire now undefeated. He's that close. Is that worth more than taking one more? What would you do? If
or
you
he can fight again and still be undefeated. I mean, a lot of people I think are putting this like energy on like if he fights, he's not. You know,
I get
it's
it.
like I think that that's what I think the energy behind it is like. So, like, it's I don't know. I think it's just gonna be if he feels like it, he'll do it, and if he doesn't, he doesn't. And just because he's not doing it, I don't like people are just like if he doesn't, they automatically are like, well, he would lose if he did it. I don't know like what that energy is, you know?
Fair enough. What would you do if you were him?
That's like a lot to say about someone who has won their whole career against the toughest, and then they're like, oh, if you don't want to fight this one, that's because you would have lost. Like that's just kind of, you know, I think that I haven't talked to him about it, but I think that he's gonna be one of those that if he's passionate about it and wants to do it, he'll do it, and if he doesn't, he doesn't. But I mean, I think that if one thing about Jon, when he does, he shows up.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you will be showing up on June 28th, Anaheim.
I will.
Can't wait. The Honda Center. What a time. What a time. The return of Holly Holm to the Sweet Science. This is tremendous stuff. Looking forward to it very much. And it will be on DAZN. Thank you so much. Congrats on the deal, Holly. And good luck in training for this fight.
Thank you.
There she is, the preacher's daughter, the one and only, the two-sport Hall of Famer. How many people can say that? But there she is, the one and only Holly Holm. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.